Oi, 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 oi. The Champions League draw came out. And I'm going to tell you something right now. Do you know what stat blew me away? Everyone watching this right now is older than the football club that's in the Champions League that we're going to play in this competition. But if you're new here, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, mate. The Premier League has started. Champions League draw is just out. We're going to talk about exactly each team, talk about our chances. Are we going to win? Are we not? But make sure you stay tuned for that. So yeah, let's get into it. Arsenal have had their Champions League draw, just like many other teams in here. And the interesting thing is that I was a bit confused, I'll be honest. Like, there's certain things coming out about, oh, if Arsenal play certain teams, then they can't play that team away because they've played away. Or I don't know. It's just a bit of back and forth. Let me just bring it down to a nutshell. If we played Inter Milan in the draw, we would have to play at the Emirates because we played at the San Siro twice. So I think a team can't play away at a ground for more than 2 occasions because of the rules. So that means if they do draw against each other, they will have to play at the ground which they've not played in yet. I mean, it's still not making sense to me, guys. But you get the gist of what I'm trying to say. If you just Google it and it will sort you out. The Champions League draw is out. And interestingly, we kind of got similar fixtures we had last year. I'll say similar, but it's only one team. But that team is Bayern Munich, yes. Bayern Munich away. We were fortunate to play them at home last year. Unfortunately, they had injuries, we'd had injuries. We had Marino up front, they had Luis Diaz missing. And I think that might be the changing factor this time round. So, yes, I'm a bit worried. Marco Olise, top of his game, one of the best wingers last year. Obviously, they've got great talent across the board. You know, they've got Harry Kane up front. They've still got Gnabry. They've got Kimmich. They've got, you know, who else? Upamecano. Obviously, Neuer's not the same Neuer. I know people might disagree, but I don't think he's the same Neuer. They've still got huge firepower. Now, they signed 2 players in the window. Was it Nathaniel Brown and they signed Saibari? These are 2 good players as well. I know Arsenal were kind of linked to Nathaniel Brown, but obviously it didn't flourish because we ended up buying Hincapié on a permanent basis anyway. What am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is that we played Bayern Munich and we won comfortably 3-1. I do feel like we have a stronger squad than last year, but I'm still worried because going away to Bayern Munich, we've never won there. So for us, it's going to be something new. And yeah, that's the game that worries me the most. The second biggest game that I worry about, of course, is going to be Madrid. Now, I know we are king of Madrid. We've never lost to Real Madrid in the Champions League. We've only conceded 1 goal. The year before, we never conceded a goal against Real Madrid. We beat them every single time. They've obviously recruited heavily over the summer. Let me not deny that. Real Madrid looking way better this time. We obviously looking better. But I mean, defensively, they've got Cucurella, Konate. You know, they've got abundance of talent that they've bought in, and they're trying to go for it and become the Madrid that they were a few seasons ago, where they've got 15 Champions League on their pouch, on their sleeve. So they want to retain that glory, bring it back, because obviously they've had a bit of a fall off, lost the La Liga last year to Barcelona. So yeah, Mourinho's back in. We'll see how that happens. But we are playing at home, Real Madrid, so they're coming to the Emirates, and I think, personally, that this will be a great victory for us. I'm not going to sit there and say it's going to be easy. Like I said, one of the best teams in the world right now. I know we're known for our defence. I know we kept Mbappe quiet. I know we kept Vinicius quiet. It was only a Saliba mistake which led to a goal. But that's another thing. Vinicius playing against Arsenal. After all this transfer saga, are we going to get Vinicius? Is he going to renew his contract? That will be an interesting match for him to finally come to Arsenal and have a game. And on top of that, I know he's going to get a bad reception from the fans. Every time he's on the ball, he's going to get a boo. I can just see it right now. Moving on. Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund, one of the teams that I loved the most growing up. Not because I hate Bayern Munich. I don't hate them. But Borussia Dortmund, they get talent and they build them up. You know, just think about Aubameyang. I think he scored 60 goals in a calendar year for Borussia Dortmund. Dembele, who plays for PSG now. Goetze, World Cup winner, scored the goal which took them to, you know, Germany to the World Cup final and helped them lift the trophy. You know, Lewandowski. You know, I could go on and on about names. Borussia Dortmund are so good when it comes to producing talent and developing talent. Still to this day, a lot of players that were, you know, in the Ballon d'Or talks right now have started from Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund have a huge heritage when it comes to building talent. But I'm not going to sit here and say, yes, that's going to be an easy game. That could also be another tricky game, yeah? So even though we have Borussia Dortmund at home, again, it can still prove to be a tricky game. Very, very tricky game. I don't want to overlook certain opponents. I feel like when, as Arsenal fans, we used to do that quite a bit. And then we'll get punished. And then, we'll hang our heads in shame and get cussed out by all the rest of the fan bases out there. Another tricky game as well is Napoli away. I remember the job they did on Liverpool. 4-1. Trent Alexander-Arnold had an abysmal game. But I know they had Kvaratskhelia or Osimhen. It's a different Napoli. But still, Napoli have got good heritage. Napoli are also a powerhouse in the Serie A. I think they won Scudetto. I know they've lost their front three. I know that Lukaku's obviously left and gone to Fenerbahce. All that stuff, yes. But at the same time, you can't overlook these teams. You have to go in there mentally prepared. I do feel like we could beat them, of course. I don't think it'll be by a huge margin. Italian teams are known for great defences. They like to sit back and hold. But I think that Arsenal can beat them. But again, it's not somebody that I want to take lightly. I think if Arsenal prepare really well, I think we can definitely do a job on them. Yes. But my main concern is obviously going to be Bayern Munich away. I think that will be the true test for Arsenal. I think the reason why is because people might think that last year was probably a fluke. Bayern Munich weren't up to it. Luis Diaz was out. All the excuses that come with being an Arsenal fan. So this is the way to prove the haters wrong and prove to the world that, listen, we deserve a Champions League. We can actually do it this year. I think we recruited really well this summer, of course. I feel like we might add a few more here and there this window. There could be a few surprises. But I think overall, I'm quite confident in this Arsenal team. I'm quite confident in Arteta. He's always progressed throughout the years in the Champions League. The year before he got to semi-finals. Last year he got into the final. It was just unfortunate. So things are looking good. We're just adding and adding and adding. Obviously, across Europe as well, teams are doing the same. But I think Arsenal will have a really good chance of topping the whole league stage of the Champions League again. I think we are tipped to be one of the best teams in Europe right now anyway. So for us, I think we're quite fortunate. I think the only unfortunate team I'd probably say is Aston Villa and Man City. Reason why I say that, Barcelona and PSG. You got La Liga champions and obviously you got PSG, 2-time back-to-back Champions League winners. And look, Man City, they're still on a transition period. Aston Villa in transition period. They lost Ollie Watkins to Al Hilal. They lost Konsa. They've lost Tillemans. They've lost a lot of, Lucas Digne, who now plays for PSG. They've lost a lot of the glue that held the team together. So it'd be interesting to see how Aston Villa do against PSG. I know in the UEFA Super Cup they didn't do too bad. 2-1. I think they could have walked away with the win that game. It was just unfortunate. But Man City and Aston Villa, yeah, they've got two very, very tough games. I'm interested to see Barcelona because of the Man City, Rodri, and see what type of reception he gets. I'm hoping and I'm thinking that Man City will give him a good reception for Rodri. He's done a lot for the club. He just wanted a new challenge. What more could he have done with Man City? He's won it all. Super Cup, Champions League, Premier League, Carabao. He's won it all, man. So yeah, but I feel confident with our fixtures. I think we can definitely top this group again. We did it last year. We could definitely do it again. Didn't lose. Conceded the least goals in the Champions League. And look, why can't we replicate that again? We've strengthened in the back. We've strengthened in the midfield. Hopefully we strengthen even more in attack. How do you feel about the teams that we're playing? Do you feel like there's some teams that we really need to be careful of? Do you feel like there might be some surprises? Just let me know.